good, Dutch.
It's been a long time, General.
Come on inside.
We've got a transponder fix on their position. About here.
So why don't you use the regular army? What do you need us for?
Because some damn fool accused you of being the best.
Dylan! You son of a bitch! What's the matter? The CIA got you pushing too many pencils? Huh? Had enough?
Make it easy on yourself, Dutch.
Okay. I didn't know when to quit, huh?
Zooms in on there.
Yeah. His character turns out to be a bit of a bad guy later on, so they have a bit of a falling out, but he ends well. Like, he dies valiantly. But they have this handshake, flexing their biceps, and then they have an arm wrestle. It's so ridiculous. It's great. Hi, ASHS Gym Club. We just thought we'd do one very simple, less than 5-minute introduction to hypertrophy or muscle gain, but we just want to give you a real simple way of thinking about muscle size gain and how you would optimize that.
Yeah, just three key factors that we're going to talk about today. So we're going to talk about your sleep, your diet, and then weights or volume.
Yeah, nice. Sleep is real simple. You just need enough of it. For most people, that'll be between 7 to 9 hours a night. But there are some real extreme outliers, right? Like anything like that. So there's the odd person around that can handle 5. There's the odd person around that needs like 10 plus, right? So you will know what it is for you, but at least start at that. It should be the same time each night, ideally, because if you go to bed at 10 one night and 1 the next night, it's very hard for your body to adjust to that.
Sleep routine and hygiene is really important. It tends to improve when you're training and you're training well, but hugely important for recovery and growth.
If you're sleeping really badly, it's almost like you might as well be not doing weights at all. That's how much it can impact you if you're getting it wrong.
It's one of life's biggest indicators when it comes to health.
Yep, longevity. There's a whole these benefits to sleeping well. And you know that because every morning you wake up and feel terrible. That's you dying slightly earlier. Anyway, so you've got to get enough sleep. So diet's a bit more complicated.
The important thing here that I want to get across is that you need to be eating enough. Enough for training first and foremost. But then depending on your goals, if your goal is to gain muscle, then you're going to need to be getting at least 1 gram of protein per kg of body weight.
Yeah, at least. It gets expensive and difficult to get it in there and time consuming, but like a lot of people would even say 1.5 grams per kg of body weight.
And for where you guys are at, because that's where we want to bring it back to, is that just making sure you're getting enough. If you're in here training every day, you do need to have a reasonably good and high protein intake, because it aids in recovery. It also aids in things like your immune system. There you go.
Your body's capacity to fight off bugs, it's real important. And your body's constantly doing that all the time, and most of the time you don't notice it apart from when it kind of fails and you get sick.
There's just a certain level at which it helps maintain that system, right? But don't underestimate how many or how much carbs you need to also be getting in. We are a school and you need to be able to work your brain, and carbs are a big factor in that, and also the energy that you will actually have to train. So just make sure you're getting enough of it.
And you need a minimum amount of fat as well, and those are your 3 macronutrients. Just in terms of like hypertrophy or muscle gain optimization, most people will eventually start looking at a period of time when they'll be aiming to gain weight, which is often called a gain or a bulk or whatever, and then they'll look at a period of time in which they'll cut fat, or cut body fat ideally, without cutting muscles. And so the reason people will do that is that it's probably less efficient just to try and gain exactly the amount of muscle that you've done enough workout for. Like, it's quite difficult for your body to do that, to put on muscle. And so that'll mean you'll also put on some fat, but if you do want to then get rid of some of that body fat later, sort of aesthetic reasons, that's when you'd cut. And so to give you some numbers, just to make it a little bit easier, lots of people would gain from anywhere from 12 to 20 weeks. Some people will gain for a year. It's like you can gain for a lot longer if you want to, if you're not doing a decent amount of weights and a bit of weight gain for at least 12 weeks, you're not going to see much difference because muscle grows very slowly. And so people will typically do 10 to 15% more calories than they need just to maintain the same weight. And figuring all that out is a bit technical, but for most people that's about 1 to 2% of their body weight. per month. So it's not actually super fast, but that's sort of what you want to aim for. You'll see some social media out there of people gaining much faster than that. You don't need to. It's kind of probably not that healthy because you're putting your digestive system under a lot of load. If you're just pouring heaps and heaps of food through, you're going to be eating a lot. So those are some sort of numbers to think about. And then like people when they're cutting, well, usually cut for somewhere from 6 to 12 weeks. 6 weeks can be quite a fast cut. 12 weeks can be a bit slower. If you cut for longer than that, you're risking losing pretty significant muscle mass. So then it's kind of counterproductive because it's like you're doing this gaining to gain muscle mass and then you're losing it from cutting too hard. So there's a real balancing act to play there.
It's also not that fun.
Yeah, no, well actually it's funny, it depends a bit on your natural appetite. Like I actually find cutting easier than eating the amount of food to gain. Like I really struggle about 2/3 of the way through. I get real sick of eating. The amount of food I need to put weight on is different for different people. Some people are going to get upset to hear that because they're like, you can do some pretty big deficits with a cut. So a deficit just means less calories than you need to keep the same weight. Some people will be doing sort of around 15%. You can up that to sort of somewhere around 35. That's a very hard cut. You'll feel pretty average. So it's just, I mean, I would also advise talking to your parents about this or someone at home because people have, when it comes to the fat loss dieting side of it, in the modern world, there's a lot of stuff around body image and kind of unhealthy ways to do that. But if you're going to do a gain, like a proper gain, you're probably going to need to cut at some point. So it's just worth understanding how that works. The final thing is weights volume. We left this to the last because this is the coolest bit because it's actually about the weights. Jake, do you want to talk about time under tension?
It very much is just making sure that we're not doing our reps at a rate at which we aren't under tension for long enough, right? But when we're trying to smash out a rep like that, as opposed to like a nice 2-1-2 tempo, so that's 2 on the down, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, right? The muscle's under tension for a lot longer and therefore is under stress for longer and will then develop change quicker. That whole thing about time under tension comes down to the amount of reps as well. So if we're doing, let's say we're doing a set of 5 reps, right? And that has its time and place. Or we're doing a set of 12 to 15 reps. The set that's 12 to 15 reps, your muscles are going to be under tension for a lot longer, right? Usually means more gains.
We've talked about this a bit before. Just do exercises you like, right? You need to be in here sustainably. So if you want to get your volume up so you can get as much gains as possible, find all the exercises you like, stick them in a list, and then you can look at covering all the muscle groups that you want to focus on. So you might be missing some muscle groups, then go find some more exercises. Then you've got a program. That's all a program is. It's like, what am I doing to make sure I've covered everything I want to cover? We can help you add more stuff to it if you want. Just a real quick note on what a muscle group is, because this is commonly misunderstood. A muscle group is just a group of muscle fibers that are doing pretty much the same job, right? They're lifting in the same way. So your arms consist of at least, so we say 4 muscle groups. There's really even more than that in a way. So you've got biceps, you've got your triceps, you've got the top of your forearm, the bottom of your forearm. There's even a lot more muscles in there than just what I've said. But you know, if they're all lifting in roughly the same way, you can kind of put them into one group. And like you need to decide when you're putting a program together, which muscle groups do I want to hit.
And one thing that Hamish has put in place, which is great, is actually on the board just behind us in regards to writing down what you're wanting to achieve in that session. That's super powerful, and that is programming, right? And so what we're trying to do is guide you into learning how to program yourself. Because again, like everybody's different, everybody's unique. You've all got different targets, different goals, and they are yours. And so put them up on the board and stick to that plan for that 40 minutes, right? It's a limited amount of time you get in here, so make most of it. It's fun.
Done.
Mate.
Oh, man, thank you.
Sweet, thanks, man. Easy.